There comes a time in the life of every soul when it must reckon with its critics, its enemies, and its tempters. These forces come not only from the world outside but often from within the hearts of those we call friends, colleagues, even family. We must learn to discern the voices that speak truth and the voices that sow despair, doubt, and confusion. It is no strange thing to face opposition when standing for what is good and true. The devil's best trick is to wear the face of reason while sowing chaos. He whispers through the lips of others, "Explain yourself, justify your hope, defend your love of God and goodness," and we, too often eager to please or prove our worth, fall into the trap of endless explanation. But let us consider this: to whom are we explaining? If the critic comes to us with open hands and an honest heart, seeking understanding, let us answer in love. But if their aim is to twist our words, mock our convictions, or cast doubt where there is none, why should we waste our breath? A fool, the scriptures say, delights in their folly. A demon rejoices when they pull you down to their level. It is a grave mistake to think we can reason with malice. We cannot negotiate with darkness, for darkness understands only the language of fear and control. What it cannot control, it seeks to confuse. What it cannot confuse, it seeks to destroy. Do not be afraid to walk away from those who demand that you explain what needs no explanation. Your love of virtue, your pursuit of truth, your quiet faith, these are self-evident to those with eyes to see. Do not cast your pearls before swine, nor waste your energy arguing with those who have no interest in understanding you. Christ himself was silent before his accusers when he knew their hearts were closed. He spoke only to those willing to listen, to those who sought truth, however feebly. And so I say to you, stop explaining yourself to demons and people. Live your life as a testament to what you believe. Let your actions speak louder than any argument, your integrity shine brighter than any accusation. The light cannot explain itself to the darkness, for the darkness cannot comprehend it. But the light remains steadfast, and in time, it overcomes the shadows. Hold fast to what is good. Do not waste your strength defending it to those who do not wish to see. Let your life, your joy, and your peace be the only defense you need. It is a great mistake, my friends, to believe that every voice which opposes you is one you must heed, or that every challenge deserves an answer. There is a deeper battle we often overlook, the battle for the soul, not merely against external foes, but against the cunning whispers of doubt, malice, and despair within. When I speak of demons, I do not mean only the devils of the spiritual realm, though they are real. I also mean the subtle influences of pride, envy, and cruelty that may possess human hearts. These forces are not always visible, nor do they declare themselves as enemies. They come cloaked in reasonableness, in the guise of honest criticism, or in the form of well-dressed slander. But we must ask, what is gained by defending our every word, by explaining our every action, to those who have no desire to understand? To demons, whether spiritual or earthly, the truth is not a matter of concern. Their aim is not to learn but to distract, to wound, and to drain us of our peace. Christ himself, when confronted with accusations, did not argue endlessly. Before Pilate, he was silent. Before the taunts at the cross, he did not respond. Why? Because his mission was higher than their mockery. His purpose was not to convince, but to save. And so, we must learn the wisdom of silence and discernment. Not every attack is a call to arms. Not every critic is worth our breath. There are those who will twist even our sincerest explanations into weapons. To such, it is better to offer prayer than argument, better to retreat into the fortress of God's truth than to linger in the battlefield of futile debate. The question we must ask ourselves is this: whom do we seek to please? If our aim is to satisfy every voice that clamors for our attention, we will be forever restless, forever explaining, forever defending. But if our goal is to please God, then we are freed from this tyranny. For in his eyes, our worth is already secure. So let us not waste our strength on battles that do not matter. Let us speak the truth boldly, but let us also know when to walk away. For the war we fight is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers and principalities that seek to darken the light within us. Hold fast, therefore, to what is good. Seek wisdom, and pray for those who oppose you. For the true victory is not in silencing the demons, but in keeping your soul aligned with the will of the one who loves you. And remember this: you are not called to explain yourself to everyone. You are called to live a life that explains itself in love, integrity, and faithfulness. There comes a time in the journey of every soul when it must choose silence, not out of cowardice, but out of wisdom. Too often, we feel the burning need to explain ourselves, to justify our actions, or to seek understanding from those who have no desire for it. This compulsion to clarify stems not from a place of peace, but from a place of unrest, a desire to be seen rightly in the eyes of others. Yet, consider this: what profit is there in explaining the light to those who have chosen to dwell in darkness? Not the darkness of ignorance, which can be illuminated, but the willful darkness, the kind that has made a home of malice and misunderstanding. These are the demons in people, the whispers of pride, envy, and resentment that cloud their judgment and harden their hearts. When you find yourself before such spirits, disguised as friends, family, or even your own thoughts, remember that their aim is not reconciliation but destruction. They do not seek truth, for truth is an affront to their dominion. Instead, they twist words, distort intentions, and sow seeds of doubt, turning even your most sincere explanations into fodder for their mischief. Do not be fooled into believing that you owe them a defense. Christ himself, when faced with the accusations of the Pharisees, did not always answer. Before Pilate, he stood silent. Why? Because some ears are not open to hear, and some hearts are not prepared to receive. He knew that no argument, however eloquent, could pierce the armor of willful blindness. So it is with us. Our task is not to convince the unwilling, but to walk steadfastly in the light. Let your life be your testimony. Let your actions speak where your words are twisted. For there is a strength in quiet conviction that no argument can match. Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Do not cast your pearls before swine, as Christ warned, for they will trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. This is not a call to judgment or to withdraw love, but to exercise discernment. Love does not demand that you subject yourself to the wiles of those who would do you harm. In the end, the light will reveal all things. The truth needs no defense, for it is unassailable. Walk in that truth and let it be your shield. Do not explain yourself to demons, whether they whisper from within or shout from without. Silence in such moments is not weakness but a declaration of freedom. The battle is not yours to fight alone. Stand firm and let God be your vindicator. Why must we labor to explain the good, the true, and the beautiful to those who neither seek nor desire them? There comes a point where we must discern the futility of justifying light to those who cherish the dark. It is not that light is incomprehensible, nor that darkness cannot be overcome, but that some hearts have, by choice, aligned themselves with shadows. They neither see nor wish to see the light, for their blindness is willful, and their ears are stopped against truth. To persist in reasoning with such souls is to cast pearls before swine, to spend the energy of eternity on the soil of futility. It is not ours to persuade demons that they are demons, nor to call them back to a humanity they have long abandoned. The world is fraught with unseen battles, with forces pulling men toward the abyss, even as grace seeks to save them. But when we encounter those who mock the good and twist it into something contemptible, let us not be ensnared in their deceitful web. There are those who laugh not out of joy, but out of malice, who question not out of curiosity, but to destroy. To them, every word of truth is a weapon to be turned back against its wielder, every argument a snare they will manipulate to their advantage. We must remember that the Christian's task is not to convince the devil or to negotiate with his servants. Our task is to proclaim the truth, live the truth, and stand unwavering in the truth. There will be times when silence speaks louder than words, when the very act of walking away bears greater witness to the truth than endless debate. For the truth is not diminished by rejection, nor does it falter when mocked. It remains as unshakable as the one who embodies it. Do not let your soul be troubled by those who scorn your faith or seek to entangle you in their malice. Their scorn does not change the reality of grace, nor their malice the power of redemption. Walk in peace, for the victory has already been won. The light will triumph over darkness, and no amount of shadowy reasoning can undo the truth that stands eternal. So guard your heart and your time, for they are precious. Share your words with those who hunger for life, and do not waste them on those who feed only on destruction. This is not cruelty, but wisdom. It is not indifference, but discernment. For to explain yourself to demons is to fall into their endless game, and your calling is not to play their game but to rise above it. Keep your eyes fixed on the kingdom, and let no power of darkness divert you from the path of light. There comes a time in your life when you must stand firm in who you are and stop allowing the opinions and projections of others to dictate your journey. Some people will come into your life not as friends, not as guides, but as barriers disguised as companions. Their purpose is not to uplift or inspire you, but to sow doubt, confusion, and insecurity. These are the demons in people. Insecurities, envy, bitterness, manifesting through words and actions designed to keep you small. You must recognize them for what they are and resist the urge to explain yourself, to seek their validation, or to change their perspective. You were not placed on this earth to prove your worth to anyone. Your existence, your dreams, your path, these are not subject to a jury of those who cannot see beyond their own shadows. When you spend your energy explaining your decisions, justifying your growth, or defending your purpose to those who are committed to misunderstanding you, you are not convincing them. You are only exhausting yourself. Their minds are not closed because of what you lack. Their minds are closed because they fear the reflection of their own inadequacies when faced with your courage and light. It is not your job to carry their burdens. It is not your job to explain to them why you are worthy of love, respect, or success. Their inability to see your value does not diminish it. A diamond remains a diamond, no matter who fails to recognize its brilliance. So let them doubt you, let them question you, let them misunderstand you, but do not for a moment let them stop you. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace, your vision, and your energy. Instead of trying to convince them of your worth, invest that energy into becoming so aligned with your purpose that their doubts become irrelevant. Your actions, your persistence, and your results will speak louder than any words ever could. Remember, those who truly see you, who truly care for you, will not need an explanation. They will understand because they are on the same frequency, striving for their own light. And when you encounter those demons in others, those doubts, fears, and insecurities that try to latch onto you, choose silence. Choose to rise above. Do not feed the chaos with your energy. Focus on your growth, your peace, and your higher calling. Not everyone is meant to understand you, and that is perfectly okay. The right people will, and those are the ones who matter. So stand tall, stand firm, and never, ever waste your light trying to explain it to those who are committed to living in darkness. Too often, we find ourselves caught in conversations where we're defending our every move, our every decision, as if we need to justify our existence to those who refuse to understand us. People can be so quick to judge, to criticize, to tell us how we should be, how we should act, what we should believe, and yet we spend so much of our energy trying to make them see things our way. But here's the truth. You do not owe anyone an explanation for who you are, for your choices, or for the path you're walking. Explaining yourself to someone who refuses to listen is a futile act. It's like speaking to a wall, trying to convince it to see things your way, knowing deep down that the wall has no intention of understanding. Sometimes we waste precious moments of our lives trying to make sense to people who are only interested in hearing what fits their narrative, who are more interested in being right than in understanding. These people can sometimes be like demons, not because of their appearance, but because of their energy. They feed on conflict, they thrive on misunderstandings, and they will never be satisfied, no matter how much you explain. When you constantly explain yourself to others, you end up giving away pieces of your soul. You diminish your sense of self-worth. You lose sight of your purpose. You find yourself bending and twisting just to make someone else feel comfortable, while disregarding your own inner peace. It's draining, pulls at the very core of who you are. It's a battle you'll never win, Because people who are committed to misunderstanding you will never see you for who you truly are, no matter how much you try to explain. Think about it. If someone doesn't respect you, doesn't care to understand your perspective, no matter how much you say, it won't matter. They will just continue to judge, criticize, or ignore. So why waste your breath? Why give them your energy? Why offer up explanations to people who will never truly hear you? The truth is that people's opinions of you are none of your business. You cannot control how others perceive you. You can't change their thoughts, their beliefs, or their judgments. And why should you? Their perceptions are formed through their own experiences, biases, and pain. You can't change the way they see the world, and you certainly can't change the way they see you unless they are open to seeing you for who you really are. So, stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying every action, every decision. You do not need anyone's approval. You do not need to make excuses for your life choices. You are entitled to live your life as you see fit, to follow your path, to make mistakes, to grow, to learn, and to evolve without the pressure of constantly defending yourself to others. It's time to reclaim your energy. It's time to stand strong in your own truth without apologizing for it. Stop looking for validation from people who will never give it to you. Instead, surround yourself with those who see you, who respect you, who understand that your life is yours to live. Find your peace and protect it at all costs. You have nothing to prove. Your worth isn't tied to anyone's approval, not even to their understanding. Live for you and for the ones who truly value you for the person you are, not the person they want you to be. Stop explaining yourself to demons, to people who are more interested in bringing you down than in building you up. Your time is too valuable. Your energy is too precious. Live unapologetically. Stand firm in your decisions. Trust that, in the end, the people who matter will respect your choices, not because they agree with them, but because they understand that you have the right to make them. And those who don't, they'll fade into the background, where they belong. So, stop explaining. Live your life with confidence, clarity, and purpose. In a world where we're constantly seeking validation, constantly explaining our choices, actions, and beliefs to others, it's easy to get caught up in the need to justify ourselves to everyone around us. But not everyone deserves an explanation, and not everyone is worth the energy we invest in trying to make them understand us. There are people who exist solely to undermine, criticize, or tear others down. They're like demons in human form, quick to point out flaws, eager to latch onto any mistake, and relentless in their attempts to make others feel small. These people thrive on feeding off of others' insecurities and weaknesses. But here's the truth. Explaining yourself to them is pointless. You can't reason with someone whose intentions are rooted in negativity. It doesn't matter how much you try to make them understand your perspective. If their mind is closed, they'll never hear you. They're not interested in your reasons. They're interested in creating conflict or asserting dominance. The more you explain yourself to these people, the more you give them control over your emotions, your time, and your peace of mind.